Oh, I can't decide whether you should live or die. Oh, you'd probably go to heaven. Please don't hang your head and cry. I wonder why my heart feels dead inside, cold and hot and petrified. Lock the doors and close the blinds. We're going for a ride. Hi again. Right, yes. So we've made some improvements. Did quite a bit actually. You may have noticed there's no more enemies. Which might have been a problem, but what we have done, I shall show you when I work out how Unity works, is if we click play, we can move around, and enemies spawn now and also chase us and shoot things, which is good. I still haven't quite figured out how to kill enemies. I need to nerf them a bit so they're not as deadly. I've also fixed some warnings that were occurring when the player died due to the camera. I'll show you some stuff I've done. Right, okay, so if we zoom in on our player and click on it, you'll see I've changed the collision detection to a polygon type. This means that basically now we're not going to get killed if an enemy clips here or here. They have to actually hit us, which is good. The other things I've done is not press the play button. Okay, apparently we're playing again. Yes, is I've created this enemy spawner, which is a bit like our gun controller but slightly different. So if we have a look at this, we have a spawn rate, an object, enemy, cooldown timer, there. So this basically allows us to set it to the enemy layer, so we're not accidentally creating player characters and stuff like that. Obviously this just counts down. If it reaches 0, it instantiates a new enemy, gets the position of the spawn, does all that jazz. And I've also used this set parent thing, so it's not just littering my actual scene. So the enemies all go nicely under here instead. What else? Enemy controller. So yes, now we have some AI stuff, so our enemies can find the player and rotate towards the player. Realise I spelled rotation wrong. Always a good strategy there. That's not how you spell rotation. I mean, it may come as a surprise, but Roshan is not how you spell rotation. So I'll have to fix that. But yes, it finds the player, and then we've also give each of our enemies a move forward script. So it basically rotates towards the player and constantly moves forward. Constantly moves forward at a speed of 5, and also constantly tries to fire at us. Obviously this is using the gun controller thing from before, so if you look, anyway, yeah, it has the same turrets as the player, which have a cooldown time on them, so the enemy can't just constantly shoot us even though it tries to. This could probably use some improvement. Yeah, and I think that's about everything for this one. So going forward, there are a couple of things that I need to do on this. One is currently, if we play the game, every time we shoot on enemy spawns, we basically instantiate these bullets and enemy objects. This is fine and works, however it's not the best way of doing it. What I need to do is create an object manager, in which case we'd instantiate a set number of objects and then basically just reuse the objects over and over again. So that's something I'm going to look into today. The reason for that is instantiation takes quite a lot of like processing power. So rather than do that, we can just use the same objects over and over again if they're not active, and then activate them when we need them, which will make the game better. There's a couple of other things I want to do as well. I might not get time to do it today though. One is the enemies. Currently they're just always chasing us, which is a bit not good. So I wanted to set up a sort of vision field where if we're in the enemy's line of sight or whatever, it then starts chasing us rather than always chasing us. And if we're not in the enemy's line of sight, to do like a little path around the screen to try and find a player, or just like march around so they're not just sitting there looking bored. So that could be fun to do. Yeah, I also want to make it so that the player can lose the enemy, because at the moment, as you might have saw, the shooting's a bit difficult. Basically, once you've got like 3 enemies in, it becomes next to impossible to actually hit them. So we need to do that. But yeah, that should be in a future episode. So I hope you enjoyed this little overview of what I got done today. Obviously our game's a hell of a lot more game-like. There's actually stuff to do now, rather than just sitting around not doing anything. Enemies chase us, we have some AI. No. I did have this interesting little bug earlier where I tried to make the bullets do the same thing as the enemies, so they'd spawn under a thing rather than spawning in the scene. But I found this interesting little bug where if an enemy hit us with a bullet, the bullet and the enemy would disappear, which obviously isn't what we want, but I thought that was funny. But yeah, that's another thing I want to do as well, limit the enemy spawner. So enemy spawners only spawn a set amount of enemies, and basically you could kill all the enemies and it wouldn't spawn any until the player's out of the enemy spawner area, in which case the enemies would respawn, which would be a bit better than just constantly spawning enemies, because we could like end up with, I don't know, 300 enemies, which would obviously be a bit bad. But yeah, that's it for today. Stay tuned, I guess, and bye!